Monday, 21 June 2021. Coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria. This is Breakfast Central.
Well, good morning, Africa. Brand new week means brand new goals and lots of ground to cover to ensure you make the most out of it. Now, good morning to everyone watching Breakfast Central, reaching you live from Lagos, Nigeria. My name is Olisa Chukuma.
And I am Felicity Ezewike. A pleasure to be here with you once again. By the way, how was your weekend, Olisa?
Yeah, it was good. Lots of rest, a bit of chasing, some activities, but lots of rest. There was heavy rains in Lagos, Nigeria yesterday, Sunday. So indoors.
There's a question I'm itching to ask, but I'm not going to ask. I'm just going to ask you, did you wish your dad
Father's Day.
Day?
Yesterday, yes, I did. We had a very, man-to-man conversation, if you know what I mean.
When are you bringing her home? Anyways, well, we're here with the top stories, news and insights from around and beyond the African continent to get your week started. Let's begin with today's headlines.
To Ethiopia, where they are going to the polls in the general elections and regional elections too.
And the sad demise of Zambia's first female chief judge.
Also in Nigeria, insecurity. President Buhari meets Chris Ngige and Gambari.
We have newspapers review coming up.
Plus, the latest when it comes to COVID-19 updates from different parts around the African continent. Do stay with us.
Let's get your morning started now, shall we, with a review of the major newspaper headlines. We'll start with the Daily Nation from Kenya. Coalition Unfinished Business. That's it on your screen right now. The Screamer and the two giants shaking hands or having a serious conversation. Governors focus on legacy projects. That's another one, a special report. And then you have, as junior high draws close, it's crisis in waiting. Kidnap doesn't seem peculiar to one country in Africa. It's widespread, as you can see with that caption there, kidnap ordeal. How old man walked into a kidnapper's arms. That's a 79-year-old. We're glad he's alive to tell the story today. Of course, there is a bit of an update on the pandemic. Residents flout rules on COVID-19 as tolls rise. That's unfortunate one there.
All right, let's go to the New Times in Rwanda, still in East Africa, to see what they have for us this morning. Straight to the New Times in Rwanda. Big story there, Rwanda researching on digital currency. The study will inform the central bank on best practices. There's been all this debate around African countries about the use of cryptos. Nigeria, as we know, banning cryptos earlier this year. But Rwanda researching on digital currency. We'll find out more on that on page 3. Also speaking about finance and banking there in Rwanda. Finance Minister tables new budget this week. And there you have it, the Finance Minister of Rwanda with the briefcase, which talks about the budgets, and all the money in there. Typical stand-up photo opportunity there. Not a bad one on the front page of the New Times. Also, at the middle right, featured SOS Children's Villages Rwanda's get donation from BPR. Also, can food choices influence cancer risk? That's the central question out there at the New Times in Rwanda. All of that on the front page of that paper in the East African country. Rwanda's leading daily, the New Times.
All right, let's head now to Tanzania, where we take a look at the citizens. The president is on the front page. She is the first female for that country. Samia's balancing act in appointment of DCs. The new lineup of district commissioners announced on Saturday is a mix of CCM loyalists, defectors from the opposition, and appointees picked from various cadres, including the media. Cadres, I beg your pardon, including the media industry and entertainment. You find all the juicy details on page 2 of the paper. It's good to see when a leader is, appointing people from the opposition as well into her cabinet.
Well, you have to give credit to the graphic description of the balancing act there on that front page. You can see
Yes,
there's a wood in between. There's a circle.
Quite creative.
There's people on one side and the other. There are people underneath just the balancing ball. So it tells you that it's quite a lot to juggle for Samia Hassan, the president of Tanzania.
I have a lot of faith in her. I hope she doesn't fail us. State won't compete with private sector. That's another one on the front page. All villages to get power by 2022. Minister pledges. Well, this will not be the first time we get this kind of pledges. Nigeria is a clear example. Braced for third wave of COVID-19, says government. That's certainly not good news for anyone. Minister holds construction of new Dala terminal. Those are some of the stories you will find on The Citizen this morning. A quick look at sports there, something on the Olympics. You might want to go take a look. It says why Tanzanian athletes won't camp in Japan. That's on page 20 of the paper.
All right, so let's move straight to Nigeria with the punch in West Africa. And they've gone with a punch up this morning. There were lots of heavy rains, like I talked about, in many parts of the southwest. And they've gone with that this morning. You can see flooding of houses and vehicles in some parts of western Nigeria. This is the Agege area, and you can see that really flooding going down with heavy rains. Rain started quite early, about 6 a.m. yesterday, and didn't stop about 5 in some areas yesterday, Sunday. So major flooding in different parts of Lagos, and they're chiming with that this morning. Also, states cry for cops, bandits change, strategies attack schools en masse. Now, we hear that of 130 secondary schools in Zambia. Deserted communities shut, over 300 secondary schools in Kebbi lack security, that says the NUT chairman, and no schools safe until government negotiates with bandits, says Sheikh Gumi. Quite a controversial figure these days when it comes to the news circle in Nigeria. Also, at the top there, top line of the punch says recapitalization, insurance industry assets rise to 2.02 trillion naira. All of that on the front page of the punch this morning. But if you're in Lagos, Nigeria, that picture of flooding in different parts clearly rings a bell. All right, from that we'll move straight to our top stories on Breakfast Central.
Ethiopia will today hold a twice-delayed national election in what the government has heralded as a long-awaited emergence into multi-party democracy.
Well, but a cascade of major crises in Africa's second most populous country has thrown the vote into disarray, leaving millions unable to vote.
Foremost among them is a disastrous 7-month-old civil war in the northern region of Tigray, where a powerful regional political party is waging a guerrilla-styled conflict against Ethiopia's military, which in turn has aligned with forces from neighboring Eritrea and Ethiopia's Amhara region.
Well, all sides have been accused of war crimes, and humanitarian groups say hundreds of thousands in Tigray are experiencing famine conditions. Now, how is this issue going to affect the exercise? Let's join our correspondent from East Africa, Abdunor Arden, joins us this morning on Breakfast to really unpack the situation. Arden, good morning to you. Welcome back to Breakfast Central.
Always a pleasure to join you, Oli and Feli. Hope you're doing well as well.
Yes,
doing
we
good.
are.
All right, this exercise was originally scheduled to hold in August last year, but was postponed twice due to COVID-19 pandemic. Now, how do you see this postponement affecting the voters taking part in this exercise? We hear that different regions look like they might not be taking part due to security crisis in some regions in Ethiopia.
it hasn't been a very good period for elections across Africa because the pandemic has also created a pulse pandemic where we've seen out of the more than 100 million Ethiopian population, only 37 million will be taking part in the voting exercise. Now, the other issue is that of all the parties or the parties that are participating in these elections, we have 40 different candidates, but the majority of the attention has been on the regional elections. And now this is an evidence that Ethiopia, where under Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who is also going to the polls for the first time after coming into power following the changes due to the unrest, then it means it is a hurdle that the whole world is watching to see how they will overcome.
A real hurdle indeed. It's the first multi-party election in Ethiopia since 2005. And we know that country has been weakened by a lot of issues, from insecurity to political disputes. What really is at stake with this election?
A lot of things are at stake. The first thing is the credibility of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, as well as his reformist agenda, which earned him the Nobel Peace Prize. And the other thing is Abiy Ahmed is also facing the other things related to his previous reformist achievements, which included lifting the bans on political parties. But when we are experiencing these elections with some regions such as the Tigray and Oromia elections not taking part in different situations and areas, then it means that a lot might change regarding how Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed handles the situation after polls. We know that yesterday he's had a security meeting on the elections, assuring the participants, the voters, of their safety during this exercise. Apart from his credibility, yes, Oli.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, apart from his individual credibility, the other thing is about credibility of the polls itself. Now, 547 seats are up for grabs. And we know that the government, the incumbent has won the previous elections. And even though it is Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's first as a contestant, then of course, there are predictions that he will have an overwhelming victory. But then again, it's about the credibility of the exercise itself.
All right, you just talked about him perhaps getting overwhelming victory. We know that Tigray region will not take part in this vote at about a fifth of the polling stations. In fact, 110 constituencies are not taking part in these elections, which includes his own constituency, the large, big group of Oromia, which you mentioned. So the credibility in this election is at stake here. Well, what about the opposition? How much of a strength do they have? Are they none at all in these elections?
Well, of course, the opposition groups already spoke about how weakened they became, especially in nearly the last 1 year as part of the government's crackdown. And Amnesty International also earlier spoke about, despite Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed's reformist agenda and efforts, but of course there has been a lot of complaints from the opposition. And now opposition groups such as the TPLF, the ONLF, having themselves witnessed the government crackdown, then as their leaders have said, they are indeed weak. But then again, some of these elections will be held later in September in some of the areas that the exercises won't be taking place the days starting now. But Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed is the country's first leader from the Oromia region, and now having some of these polls-related challenges being witnessed in that area, then it points fingers at areas of improvements after these elections.
From data available to you, Abdinor, do you think that this exercise will be fair? And what is the predominant sentiment among citizens at this time?
Well, ethnic tensions and divisions are not a new thing or a foreign thing in the situation in Ethiopia. It is an experience that has been visible in the country for ages. But then again, there are different sides, those who are praising the exercise and the efforts, including the 37 million voters who are going to take part. And also 4/5 of the population will also be taking, the exercise will also be taking place with only 1/5 of the country. But the key question here is not about the credibility of these elections or the successfulness of this exercise, but it is indeed the image of Ethiopia and the reputation of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed concerning the outcome of these elections. But the peace and the security of Ethiopia, what the locals, the humanitarians, and the whole world is looking at beyond this election exercise. Felicity.
We'll certainly be circling back to you in the coming days. Thank you so much, Abdinor, for joining us.
Thank you so much in the studio as well.
All right, let's go straight to Zambia, where President Edgar Lungu yesterday announced yet another high-profile death in the country's, this time it's Chief Justice Irene Mambilima. President Lungu said Justice Mambilima died at a private hospital in Cairo, Egypt yesterday. The Chief Justice was said to have traveled to Cairo on the 10th of June on official assignment and fell ill whilst on duty in that country.
Mambilima joins over 5 influential figures, including founding father and Pan-Africanist Kenneth Kaunda, who have died in the country within a space of less than 7 days. Let's see a brief profile of the late Chief Justice in Zambia.
Born on the 31st of March 1958, became the first female Chief Justice of Zambia, was also announced Chief Justice of the Republic of Zambia on the 26th of February. That was back in 2015. A Bachelor of Laws degree holder from the University of Zambia and a Masters of Law degree from the University of London.
She was called to bar in 1977, joined the judiciary as a commissioner of the High Court in 1985. She was also appointed judge in charge of the Lusaka High Court in 1996. Appointed judge in charge of the High Court Commercial List in 2000.
Also, she served as a judge of the High Court from 1989 to 2002, quite a while, you have to say, and served as Deputy Chief Justice of the Republic of Zambia from 2008 to 2015. Also appointed the acting Chief Judge of the Supreme Court in the country and was ratified back in 2002. Also served as a sessional judge of the Supreme Court of the Gambia in 2003.
Quite a list there. She held a lot of position in her time, but basically we know that she lived a life of public service. She was at one time the chairperson of the Zambia Council of Law Reporting. She was also a member of Zambia Association of Women Judges and International Association of Women Judges.
Right, yes. So another sad passing in Zambia just last week. One of the founding founders, Kenneth Kaunda, passed away, the former president, and big news yesterday for the passing of the chief judge. More stories right here on Breakfast Central. Coming down to West Africa, Nigeria, the critical security situation in the country's northeast geopolitical zone has attracted the attention of the federal government at the weekend, and President Muhammadu Buhari met with his Chief of Staff, Professor Ibrahim Gambari, and the Minister of Labour of Employment, that's Senator Chris Ngige, over the issue.
Now, Gambari and Ngige, during the meeting, briefed the president on labour issues, including the recent strike embarked upon by the Judicial Staff Union of Nigeria, JUSN, and the Parliamentary Staff Association of Nigeria that paralysed legislative and judicial activities in the country for 2 months before the strikes were called off last week. We're now joined by NC Chief Researcher Abdulateef Ahmed. Welcome to The Breakfast.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Now, the president at some point was mute over some of the happenings in the country for a while. And now there seemed to be some action. What do you think prompted his recent moves? First, it was a visit to troops in Borno State, and now this meeting over the weekend.
Yeah, it is a good thing that the president has gone to the northeast and returned. Essentially, a morale booster for our troops on the front lines. There has been an impressive onslaught against the insurgents lately, and his going adds a plus to the activities of the Nigerian troops in the northeast. However, what you have again is something you can tell easily that if in the last 6 years you have not seen the president respond to issues with the needed alacrity that it should be given, then what you are having now is merely, I would say, a response, a knee-jerk response to the bedlam of reactions across the country, because it seems like there's a misdirection in the way the polity is running, and therefore this reaction from the president is the much-needed response that we should have gotten long ago.
Well, Abdulateef, the meeting comes at a time the nation is clearly battling one of the most difficult times in its history with this insurgency issue, and terrorists, Boko Haram, and now you have ISWAP. Now, should anything positive, come out, be expected from these meetings and this latest move by the president? Because this is the Chief of Staff, Gambari, and the Minister of, Employment and Labour, Chris Ngige. So what do you think Nigerians will be thinking about? Okay, Ngige and Gambari, what should we expect as Nigerians?
Okay, beyond the meetings they're holding, they've just finished holding, what Nigerians want is the food on the table. Meetings can go on without it reflecting in the fiscal and financial responsibility from the part of the government. Then the ordinary Nigerians will not really bother. The meetings are well placed in the sense that we have a lot of reaction from the labor lately. We have issues concerning inflation. We have the purchasing power of the average Nigerian. These are challenges that will continue to worsen security situations in the country, and therefore addressing them headlong is very well welcome. However, we need to see it in practical terms. It has to reflect on the lives of people on the streets.
You referred to the meeting as a knee-jerk reaction. We've seen this sporadically over the months. These meetings, the announcement of these meetings, how important is it for the citizens to know that they're having this meeting when, over time we haven't seen a commiserate response to the insecurity across the country?
That's exactly what I'm saying. If you continue to meet without the needed onslaught against insurgents, bandits, and other activities of other negative persons, in the polity, then it will not amount to anything. Why there is need for an urgent meeting is the sense that labor may go on strike at a time when people are complaining of financial difficulties and economic mess. What the government needs to do is to ensure that beyond meetings, resolutions are implemented, the demands of labor are evaluated properly, and whichever ones that can be met, in the immediate should be responded to. So well, it's not just about meetings.
Yeah. Abdulateef, it does goes on that because, you look at what's going on at Aso Rock and what's going on around the country. You have the economic situation in one hand, which the country clearly needs attention. But the security, problem gives us sleepless nights. So I really wonder, from what you're monitoring on your desk and with the research, are the federal government, can they be able to really handle all this? Because it's a double whammy for this administration at this point in time, the economy and the insecurity.
For a country that is projected to hit 263 million in another 9 years, it is clear that we are in a demographic trap. We are already about 200 million, and what it also means is that we have shrinking revenues and increasing population. For a country that is unable to fix its population growth, ours is about 2.6% growth compared to world average, which is about 1.2. Ours is more than double the world average. We are growing at an exponential rate, and what it means is that the more we have a shrinking income versus the number of persons who are in need and whose needs need to be met, we have a an intricate problem. And unless the government is able to work for the future, to plan for the future, to work around our population vis-a-vis what our IGR is, then it will continue to worsen as the days go by.
Well, let's have some hope that they will raise up to the task, at least make an effort that will be seen by Nigerians. Thank you very much, Abdulateef, for joining us on Breakfast Central.
Thank you.
All right, coming up next on Breakfast Central. Well, COVID-19 updates from different parts across the African continent. And Tunisia's own Jabor wins her first WTA title out there in Birmingham Classic.
Disney unveils African animated films. You're still watching Breakfast Central on News Central. Don't forget, you can follow us on all social media platforms. We're on Facebook and Instagram. You can also watch us live on YouTube or Star Times channel 274 and on Avo TV channel 23.
All right, Felicity, avoiding the TWITTER word. Well, who can blame you? Well, the impact of COVID-19 is heavily felt globally and indeed in Africa. The continent is yet to recover as the third wave looms. Now, Bernard Akede has the latest when it comes to the COVID-19 updates.
Good morning, guys, and yes, this is a COVID report from the continent. We'll start from the east, talking about Ethiopia to be specific, where Ethiopia has registered 158 new COVID-19 cases in the past 24 hours, taking the nationwide tally to 275,194, I beg your pardon. According to the country's Ministry of Health, 3 new deaths and 652 more recoveries were reported, bringing the national count to over 4,000 and over 254,000 respectively. Now, Ethiopia, Africa's second most populous nation, has so far reported the largest number of COVID-19 cases in the East African sub-region. Figures from Africa's Center for Disease Control and Prevention showed that Ethiopia's COVID-19 cases accounted for about 5% of Africa's total. Ethiopia is among the countries hardest hit by COVID-19 in Africa, following South Africa, Morocco, Tunisia, and Egypt. Speaking of Tunisia now, which is where we're going, the Tunisian government yesterday added another 3 governorates to the list of general lockdown as the situation of the COVID-19 pandemic worsens in the North African country. The government had already put the North Central Governorate of Kairouan under general lockdown on Saturday. Now, Siliana, Zagwan, and Bejakan are the 3 new governorates where the infection rate reaches 400 cases out of every 100,000 residents, which prompted the decision of imposing a general lockdown, the government said in a statement. Now, 4 of the country's 24 governorates are under general lockdown. The lockdown measures became effective last night. From there to Zambia, where Zambia has recorded 49 COVID-19 deaths, which is the highest daily figure since the outbreak of the pandemic over a year ago. The country's health ministry said deaths were recorded in the last 24 hours, bringing the total deaths to 1,644. Out of the total deaths, 1,004 were classified as COVID-19 deaths, while 640 were classified as COVID-19 associated deaths. The country also recorded 2,060 new cases during the same period, with over 8,000 tests conducted, bringing the cumulative cases in the country to over 129,000. Now, according to the Africa CDC, the continent has reported over 5.1 million cases with over 136,000 deaths. The tests carried out so far is pegged at over 50 million, while the number of recoveries stand at over 4.5 million. Please stay safe, wear a mask, protect yourself and your loved ones. COVID is still out there.
Thank you very much, Bernard, for that update. The figures are climbing, unfortunately.
Yes, they are. Sadly, they are.
Do take care. We'll see you later.
All right.
All right, as you look to catch up with our news bulletins and, of course, our very rich programming content for the day, here are some to look out for.
We've got Business Edge at 11 a.m. West African time.
East Central takes the air at 5:30 p.m.
I'm looking forward to Village Square Africa at 7 p.m. West African time with Sulaiman Alede. All right, I'm also looking forward to East Central later today with the delectable Rekia, sister from Ghana, I'd love to call her. She's quite the pretty one, I have to say, and she holds it down with the big entertainment stories across Africa. And here's a little clip of her doing her thing as she knows how to do best on East Central. Enjoy.
Welcome to a brand new week. Now let me get you updated with all the stories making waves in the world of entertainment. This is East Central. Welcome back. So there's great news from Nollywood. Now, Nollywood stars such as Mona Lisa Chinda, Chuck Chike, Steve Ebo, among others, are on set to pave way for newer stars with their new drama, Speak Up. And also, according to Oluwabana, he's not a Nigerian artist. What do you guys think about that? This and many more right here on East Central. Do stay with us.
She is always looking pretty.
Hang.
It goes with the territory. You can have a face that doesn't match. Do something as engaging.
And she's our gossip blog. I don't mean that in a negative way, but catch the very latest when it comes to entertainment with News Central's E Central. Yes, today at 5:30. You don't want to miss it. So Rekia will be with you, and perhaps alongside the very naughty Sam Dandy too. They've got the latest of entertainment from Ghana, Tunisia, South Africa, Nigeria, all the artists, all the movies, all the latest Netflix to catch up on. Rekia, got you covered.
Just to say, everybody has a watch. Please set your timers, set your alarm, so you don't, I promise it's going to be fun.
Yes, indeed. So catch Rekia later for E Central. All about the world of entertainment right here on News Central.
All right, well, before we get to entertainment, let's quickly tell you that today is World Music Day, and music has the power to do just about anything and can make you feel emotions that you may have been connected to before. So, Olisa, what does music mean to you?
Yeah, it's a mood shifter. Music is everything in life, you know. I've got quite an eclectic taste. Is it reggae, hip hop, R&B, classic, Beethoven, you name it. Well, speaking about music, let's bring on Sam Dandy, other naughty one from the entertainment desk. And I use the word naughty in inverted commas. Sam Dandy, you know I love you, don't you?
Of course I do, I do.
All right, Sam, what's the latest in the world of entertainment? I hear it's all about, you know, Disney and lots of African animations yet again. It looks like I have to log on, right?
Of course, if you're a huge film fan, then you're going to be excited about this. So Disney has confirmed plans to premiere a 10-part collection of animated films. Now, the science fiction animated films will be created by up-and-coming filmmakers from Zimbabwe, Uganda, South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, and Egypt. Now, according to multiple reports, the anthology series will be titled Kizazi Moto, Generation Fire, and it will debut on Disney Plus next year. Now, the Disney Plus president, Michael Paul, added that the cultural impact of Black Panther influenced the driving factor behind Kizazi Moto Generation Fire, as it embraces the concept of Afrofuturism. And I have to agree with him. So let me give you a list of some of the animated sci-fi films to expect. Now, Stardust will be created by Ahmed Tailab from Egypt. Now, Nkai will be created from Kenya. More Me, of course, by Shofela Koka from Nigeria. Mukudzi, aka Adventure of Muku, will be created by Pius all the way from Zimbabwe. Now, Herder Boy will be from Uganda. And in fact, I want to say that South Africa would definitely take a lot of the spotlight, as the country would be creating 5 animations, people, 5, from Mkuzi to Hatima to Surf Sangoma. I know the names are new to me themselves. First Totem Problems, and of course, You Give Me Heart. Now, all of this, of course, by Africans. Now, Oscar Award-winning co-director of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Peter Ramsey, also confirmed the news as, he's the executive producer for this 10-part. And he says there are stories that touch on other worlds, time travel, and alien beings. But all of these genre, right, will be seen from an African lens. And I think that's what makes it, unique. Because we've heard it, we've seen it a couple of times from the Western world, but now we get to see from an African perspective, and I love it. I can't wait. Black Panther really did its thing on us.
Yeah.
Well, let me move from that now, of course, to Nigeria, where Jade Oshiberu has announced her latest feature film titled Gangs of Lagos. Now, the award-winning director who produced the recently released Anyila film, by Tunde, took to social media to say it's a double celebration today, right? As the first film in our slate, Anyila the movie released in cinema, we roll out first scenes of my next feature film, Gangs of Lagos. Now, set predominantly in Isaleko and inspired by real characters' life. She says, I'm looking forward to bringing this story to life. Now, if you remember about last month, Toby Bakare was, he brought out news that he has casted for a lead role. Well, apparently this is it. And he's going to also star, our favorite skit makers from Lagos, the Ikorodu boys themselves. Now, Gangs of Lagos will be produced by Kemi Lala Akindoju, and she's also confirmed the news on social media. So now what's exciting is, of course, with successful films like Isoke and Sugar Rush, and most recently Anyila, we're sure that this is going to be another blockbuster, of course, for Jade herself.
All right, so blockbusters to expect from the Nigerian scene, but also quite important for kids and overgrown adults like ourselves.
I am an overgrown adult. I love animations. I can't wait, especially this one that has the African thing.
I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully it's bigger than Black Panther. We love it.
Hopefully.
Okay.
Thank you, Sam Dandy.
I think we'll rest my case on that one. But you never know. You never know, Sam. Thank you very much, Sam, for the latest when it comes to the world of entertainment.
Anytime, Melissa.
Right, you're still watching Breakfast Central. It's a Monday, the 21st of June 2021. Still to come on the program. All about that lady, Tunisia's Ons Jabeur. She's won her very first WTA title out there at the Birmingham Classics. We'll tell you how she did it and what might lie next for Africa's #1 female player. Right, so let's talk about sports right here on Breakfast Central. We'll start out in the world of tennis. And good news for Africa's sole big lady in the world of tennis. Yes, she's from Tunisia. She's 26 years of age. That lady, Ons Jabeur. Now, the second seed from Tunisia defeated Russia's Daria Kasatkina in straight sets to win her first singles title at the Birmingham Classics. Now, she's the world number 24, and she triumphed 7-5, 6-4 against the fourth seed to become the first African to win a WTA title. She broke Kasatkina's serve 3 times to prevail in the first set before successful breaks at the start of the second to put the 26-year-old on the 4-0 control. So, which means that she is very, very set for the start of the Grand Slam, which happens on grass, which is Wimbledon. And the whole of Africa will be rooting for her on Jabeur. She's won a title, which means there's lots of confidence going into the Wimbledon Grand Slam tournament. All right, away from the world of tennis, let's take you to the world of football. We'll start with the Euros, basically. Italy have done it again. Well, they defeated their opponents 1-0 yesterday. Not a bad one for the Italians against a 10-man Wales. That man there, talking about Matteo Pessini, his only goal gave them 3 points, which means they have 9 maximum points from 3 matches to qualify as group leaders from Group A They defeated Wales by a goal to nothing, and Pandu of Wales got a red card. But the good news for Wales, though, is that they also qualify as the second best team in the group, despite, finishing with a man down through a red card. So Italy become the first team since 1980 to win all 3 matches in the Euros without conceding a single goal. They won their first match 3-0, second game 3-0, and their third game a goal to nothing. So not a bad one for the Italians. Are they favourites? That is the big question. Also in Group A, we saw Switzerland, not bad for them themselves. That man there, Xherdan Shaqiri, he scored twice for them as he defeated their opponents Turkey by 3-1. Shaqiri and Haris Seferovic scored twice in that one to give them hopes of qualifying. So they finished third in that group, which means they might still qualify. Not bad at all. It was a must-win game for the Swiss, which means Turkey are out of Euro 2020. So let's check out the results for you. What it then means in terms of these teams, well, Italy won in over Wales and Switzerland 3-1 victory over Turkey. Well, we'll get to see matches for today, that's for sure. Okay, so Italy, group leaders, no problem for them. Wales, though they lost their qualifying. Switzerland 3-1 victory over Turkey, which means they've got to wait for today's matches to know whether they will qualify or not. So let's look at the matches for today, Euro 2020. Group B, straight we go. Belgium have qualified. They've got 6 points from 2 matches. They're taking on Finland, who won 1 game and lost 1. So Finland is a must-win game for them, while Belgium need to draw and perhaps just finish as group leaders. Now, Russia against Denmark is the one that, it's a winner takes all, basically. Denmark have not won any game. They've lost 2 matches, but they can still qualify if they beat Russia by a healthy goal difference. So lots to play for. So that's it in Group B. While in Group C, already knocked out North Macedonia. They're taking on the already qualified Dutch. The Dutch have won their 2 matches, so no problem for the Dutch. But Ukraine against Austria is all to fight for. So Ukraine versus Austria, North Macedonia against Netherlands, Russia versus Denmark, and Belgium taking on Finland. So there you have it for the matches today when it comes to Euro 2020. And also coming down to the African continent, the CAF Confederations Cup. We saw a couple of results yesterday, not bad at all for the likes of Cotton Sport beating GS Kabylie by 2-1, and Pyramids against Raja Casablanca finishing 0-0. But there's more sports, that's for sure, when it comes to 10:30 a.m. within the game.
Yes, indeed. I'm rooting for Onjabor to get some trophy again.
Wimbledon?
Yeah.
It will be tricky. You have Serena.
Serena hasn't been doing. I'm not like a fan, but I don't think she's been doing so well lately.
Yeah, but the good news is it's not going to be a lady from Japan, Osaka. So it looks like a clear path for women who have won trophies, just like Onjabor, with confidence going into that one. So let's keep an eye.
Fingers crossed. Before we go, we need to tell you that it is World Selfie Day today. Yes, somewhere in the world.
Wow.
Somewhere in the world,
wow.
It's a National Selfie Day. And I was just checking it out. You have all kinds of selfie. Bathroom selfie, pet selfie, bestie selfie, jean selfie, glamour selfie.
Different
all kinds. Basically,
studio
just
selfie.
Yes.
Studio
we
selfie.
have a studio selfie. We're going to take this opportunity. It's just a fun thing to celebrate, the smartphone World Selfie Day. So have fun with it. Take a selfie like we will do after we say adios for today.
Yeah, it might be a strange one, World Selfie Day on a Monday, but what a better day, Take a selfie with your boss first thing in the morning, Be cheeky, try it,
And
take
your colleague when you get into work, just do something fun. Homework and no play make Jack adorable, even it's a Monday.
And if you're just getting out of bed, you can take a selfie with your significant other while they are still sleeping.
Bestie selfie. That one will fall on that bestie selfie. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being with us on Breakfast Central today.
Yep. We'll see you tomorrow. We have to go, but we'll join you once again, 8 a.m. West African time. Until then, bye-bye. We'll take a selfie to show you an example.
Come closer. Come closer.
Okay. Selfie time.
So, selfie time. We'll send it to you on social media. There we go.
Yeah, that's how to do it.
That's a good one.
That's how to do it. Bye-bye.
Bye.